Thanks for joining us, and welcome to America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Advice Formula and America's Medicare Associates, Nolan Baker and Kirshner. And myself, my name is Chris Vaughn. Really do appreciate spending some time with us today. Here's how you reach out: 419-794-3030. It's 419-794-3030. Online at americasretirementheadquarters.com. On today's show, what, if anything, can you do with your Medicare plan at the start of the year? And furthermore, should you do anything? Also, is there a way to make a contribution for 2021 now that we're already in 2022? All that and more. But first, let me check in with Scott and Chaz Price. Glad to be with you guys. How are you?
Well, doing well, Chris. Thank you very much. It's good to be back. I've kind of been out of commission here for a couple of weeks, but it's really, really good to be back, and glad to be sitting here with you, Chaz. Hope everybody had a great holiday. I didn't get the opportunity to wish everybody a Happy New Year. Hopefully 2022 is the year we turn the corner and get these past ugly years out of our
crossing all our fingers
mirror.
For sure.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So, let's go ahead and dive right in here and get a little insight to the listeners out there. You might have heard us mention a time or two that Medicare's annual election period ended on December 7th. But what now? Do we just roll with the punches with the plan that we've selected, or can we still make changes, Scott? And if so, how does somebody go about making those changes?
Well, those are very, very good questions, Chris. I will tell you this. The annual enrollment period, it was a very, very crazy time. I want to thank all of my listeners and all of the new clients that I acquired. Mm-hmm. It was great. I had one of the best annual enrollments I've ever had, which obviously was very, very good, very busy. But, it's a time where people have the opportunity to actually make a change to their plan. The annual enrollment period is the first part of the process to make a change to their supplemental or advantage plans. And there's a lot of these acronyms. You have the IEP, you have the AEP, the OEP, and then you have the SEP. The IEP is your initial enrollment period, so that's when you turn 65. That's when you are initially eligible. Then you have the AEP, which is your annual enrollment period. So if you have, you signed up for a prescription card like you're supposed to, or if you have an Advantage plan, as I mentioned on previous shows, that's the important time when you can make a change to your plan, your prescription plan or your Advantage plan. So it's a very, very trying time during that period, but once you get through that, then you roll over into the open enrollment period.
I've always wondered why would you have an initial enrollment period and then have an open enrollment so close together?
Sure.
Why not just extend the annual enrollment period till March, maybe?
Sure. Well, great.
In the government's infinite wisdom.
Thank you.
What's their thought on that?
That's exactly what the situation was. So there were several years ago, they actually only had what was called the open enrollment period. And the open enrollment period basically started October 15th. They made some changes to that. And so what they allow you to do now in the open enrollment period is actually you kind of get a do-over. You kind of, the golfers out there, you get a mulligan. You get an opportunity to make one last change for that upcoming year. So January 1st until March 31st is the open enrollment period. During that period, you can actually change from the Advantage plan that you signed up for during the annual enrollment period and change one time during that period. So let's, for example, you signed up for a plan and maybe a doctor dropped out of the network, or maybe you just have that gut feeling that you didn't make the right plan choice. You can go back to the plan you were on. You could go to another plan, but that's only for those people that are on the Advantage plans.
Okay, that's a good point.
So if you have a Medicare Supplement, this does not pertain to you. Your supplemental annual renewal date is your first date you signed up for the supplement. So, for example, if your birthday is, say, February 1st, then your annual renewal date is February 1st of every year.
Got it.
Okay.
So I've got a client we talked to today that I was asking her about Medicare. She was turning 65, and she had already signed up and just went through somebody on the phone, one of those advertisements she saw on TV. I can counsel her that it's not too late. she could actually meet with you, talk to
Absolutely.
a physical person, and get the gist of what's going on
Yeah, that's absolutely
locally
true.
here.
Yeah, so she was listening to the Joes, the three Joes, the Joe Namath,
Yeah.
the Joe Theismann,
Dynamite.
and Jimmy Walker too, Dynamite. So if someone were to sign up directly without an agent, directly with a company, for example, there's several companies out there. You've got Humana and Anthem and Blue Cross Blue Shield and Aetna, no, Paramount. All of these companies out there do offer these type of plans. Okay, if she signed up with someone directly at the company, so she's got to call an 800 number to
Right.
get any customer service.
Yeah, she doesn't even know what she has. I asked her, it's like, okay, what
Yeah.
did you get? I don't know. I just did what they said. I have to imagine that's probably a lot of people out there. that did
There's
that.
no question. All kinds of people do that, and they see these commercials where it says you can get all of this for the low cost of zero. And they say, oh, I like zero, and we talked about that before. How with inflation costs the way they are, you had an increase in your Social Security went up a little bit, 5.9%, but so did your Medicare Part B premium.
Mm-hmm.
And so did your deductible. And people are looking to save money. So if they sign up with a zero cost plan from the television, they go directly to the company. They have nobody to actually answer or help
Right.
help them. They have this opportunity right now through the open enrollment period to make one final change. Now, I can help them with that. That's what I do. That's why I'm here. I can help them with that, and we can go through, and every October, I send out renewal letters to my clients, and I ask them to call to schedule their free review to make sure that plan's still working best for them. So the open enrollment period is a time to get that to do over and put your mind at ease and move forward. To check that off your list of things to do in 2022 and move forward with the peace of mind. The one thing I also want to mention is the IEP. So if you turn 65 anytime during 2022, let's say you have a May birthday and you're signing up for Medicare effective May 1st, your IEP, I can help you sign up for that and go through the evaluations on what's going to be your best plan, whether it's a supplemental policy or whether it's an Advantage plan, sign you up for a prescription plan. But let's say that you're working and maybe you're 68 years old and you're looking to retire now and you're past 65. Well, now you actually qualify for what's called the SEP, or the Special Enrollment Period. You're coming off an employer plan, you're over 65 years old, you may have signed up for Part A only. Now you have the opportunity to sign up for Part B. That would be considered a Special Enrollment Period. So one last thing I'll touch on about the enrollment periods in Medicare at this point is I've been running into a situation where a lot of the clients that I've talked to and a lot of other clients have called me up and said, hey, I went to the doctor and on this new plan that you've got me on, and the doctor's office is telling me that I still have my old plan. Was I supposed to cancel that? The answer to that is yes. The prescription card would automatically be canceled if you sign up for an Advantage plan, but your Medicare supplemental policy, you need to cancel that. On the back of your card, there's an 800 number for member services. All you have to do is contact that, call that number, contact them, say, hey, I'd please like to cancel my policy effective January 1st. Place coverage elsewhere. It's as simple as they will cancel that policy. They're obligated to do so. So those are a lot of things that we're looking at moving into 2022. There are changes, and I know next year during the annual enrollment period there will be all kinds of changes. They come along all the time. Anybody has any questions, you can reach out to our office. You can visit our website, and we're here to help you.
The initial enrollment period, open enrollment period, special enrollment period, open election period, a lot of different things there. And it can be confusing. I'm certainly confused. The good news is you don't speak to me when you give a call to the number. You speak to Scott, who has been doing this, and he has to know how he can weave you through the process. If you got faced with if you've already made an appointment with the doctor or whatever, and you faced a unpleasant surprise here at the start of the year, right now during the open enrollment period is that mulligan phase where you can make the changes. But you have to take the first step. Give a call, 419 419-794-3030. Set up time to speak with Scott at America's Medicare Associates, 419-794-3030. I'm going to throw out another acronym here, and I think this one is something a little bit more familiar to everybody, an IRA. It's a great way to claim tax benefits for retirement savings, aside from your workplace 401k, and you could contribute up to $6,000 in a traditional or Roth IRA last year. Plus, there was a $1,000 catch-up contribution if you were over the age of 50. But, people sometimes fall short of those goals. Is there anything that people can do, even though the calendar is turned over to 2022, that they can contribute more now for the 2021 year, even though we are, like I said, already in 2022?
Yeah, a good question, Chris. And you had mentioned, Scott, earlier about that to-do list in the new year.
Mm-hmm.
And if saving for retirement's the top of that list, then yes, there's some good news about retirement savings and IRAs, particularly to add to that alphabet soup, IRA, 401ks. The contribution limits, Chris, are what's going up in 2021 for 401ks. Those are the employer plans that are set up at your work. And contribution limits in 2022 for workers are going up to $20,500 from $19,500.
Okay.
And then you are able to make that same catch-up contribution if you're over age 50 years young. You can make a $6,500 catch-up contribution. So basically, Uncle Sam's given us a bump of $1,000 that we can add additional in 2022. And while $1,000 may not seem like a lot, while we were preparing for this meeting, I went back and did some calculations. And if you put in $1,000 every year up till the time you retire in your 401k, it could be upwards of around $200,000.
It's not bad.
Yeah, so it's definitely worth it for you to take advantage and max out that 401k contribution in 2022. Now, we didn't get an increase in IRA contributions in 2022, but what Uncle Sam did give us is an increase in the amount of money that you can make and still be eligible to be able to deduct or to contribute to IRAs. So I'm going to talk real quickly about how that works. We call those phase-out limits, and that's simply a fancy word for, again, how much money can you make before Uncle Sam penalizes you for trying to save for your retirement. So currently, single filer in 2022, if you make more than $68,000, then you're going to have some limitations on the deductibility for your contribution, that $6,000 IRA contribution. That's going up from $66,000 in 2021. If you're married filing jointly, a married couple can make upwards of about $109,000 before their deductions are limited. That just means you won't get the full $6,000 deduction. You might get a portion of it. And if you make more than $129,000 as a married couple, then you're completely phased out. Now, both of these phase outs and these contribution limits apply to what we call is covered workers. Covered means that you have one of the spouses has access to a 401k. If neither spouse has access to a 401k to contribute through work, then those phase out limits don't apply. If one spouse has access to a 401k or one spouse is covered and the other is not, those phase out limitations go up. In 2021, it was 198. It goes up to 204,000. In 2022, it's 208. So again, if you're
so I have a 401k, my wife doesn't. Then that last example you mentioned is what we're gonna fall under.
Correct. So
204,000.
200. Increasing from 198 to 204.
Okay.
Is that's the limit that you can make and still get a full deduction. If you're over 208, you're completely phased out. So if you're in that $200,000 range, it's a good idea to talk to an advisor to see, is there some other opportunity for us to get, i.e. your 401k, get your 401k contribution maxed out. That's going to drop you a couple $1,000. Then you probably should do that because that opens other savings vehicles for you.
So is that your reportable income? Because a lot of the things that I do with the health insurance, as we talked on pre-shows, is if I've got someone that's looking to purchase coverage on the Unaffordable Care Act, we want to lower their reportable income.
Taxable income.
Reportable taxable income.
Your AGI, your adjusted gross income, is not taxable. Your adjusted gross income. So basically income less some other deductions that are not itemized, but yeah, your AGI has to be under the $208,000.
So that falls in like for me, one of the things that I'm a huge fan of, and that is HSAs, health savings accounts.
Mhm.
You know, and you know, like you said, Chris, when you brought us into this segment of the show, you were talking about can you make contributions. One thing I do know is I know about the HSA accounts. You can make a contribution up until, I think it's actually been moved to May 15th now, but it's when you file your taxes. You can make a contribution to the prior year to max out that HSA.
Good point. Your April 15th is actually
April 15th?
is the deadline.
Okay.
And for most filers, if you have extensions, you can actually go to the tax filing deadline.
Sure.
So-
You know, so an HSA, you know, to remind everybody, an HSA, health savings account, and allows you to use those funds to cover out-of-pocket expenses for health care. And the nice thing is you can contribute, if you're over 55 years old, you do that catch-up period. Okay, so maximum for a family is actually 7,300 for 2022. That's 7,300 for a family. And if they're both over 55 years old, they get that additional $1,000. You can actually put away $9,300 and reduce your taxable income by that amount, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And the money is yours. That's not a flexible spending account. Don't confuse it with that. It is truly a HSA, a health savings account. It's not a health reimbursement, HRA. It's a health savings account. It's your money. When the money's in there, you can use it for any medical expenses that are approved. The other nice thing is, when you get on Medicare, you can use that to pay for some of your expenses and your premiums for on Medicare. So, you know, HSA, I don't want to steal your thunder.
No, you're
with
fine.
IRAs, but that's another acronym, right? And here
Yeah.
we go, HSAs. We got all kinds of stuff like these initials, right? Alphabet soup, like how you said that.
And it can be invested too.
Absolutely.
That's I recently opened one up, had an HSA in a bank account, and they wanted to charge me $5 for just letting it sit there. So
Yep.
I had it moved out to an investment account. Great investments in it, and it's something that you don't have to use.
Right.
You can let it build up because you're going to need it for sure. So
Yeah. It does have to be liquid, though.
right.
You have to be able to, you know, if you set it up with an investment account, you've got to be able to access it if you need to, but you don't have to use it. You know,
Right.
I've got some clients that have $40,000, $50,000 in an HSA account. They'll never pay a Medicare premium or out-of-pocket expense for probably the rest of their life. You know,
It's
hopefully
not
for them.
Ideal.
Not a bad place to be in by means. Now, there are a lot of things that you can write, even though, like I said, we are in 2022 already. Looking back on 2021, making contributions if you didn't already hit that threshold. And let me make sure I got this right, Chaz. So the changes this year in the 401ks, you can contribute more, and then the IRAs, you can make more and still be able to contribute.
Correct. Yep.
Oh.
You've got the gist of it. Yep. You got
Okay.
it.
And these are things that people may not have been aware of. Sitting down and speaking with someone like the team at America's Retirement Headquarters to walk you through the ins and the outs. And not just, this obviously concerns the tax year for 2021, but in retirement, do you want to be concerned about the taxes throughout your retirement? So for the next 20, 30 years, they can develop a strategy there as well to be as tax efficient. Again, not just on the return that you have to file on April 15th, but for the years to come. All starts with that phone call, 419-794-3030. Once again, that's 419-794-3030 or americasretirementheadquarters.com. I found this interesting, and I'm going to peel back the curtain on myself a little bit here. A new poll found nearly half of us currently have unread texts that still need a response. I will admit, I turned my phone off before we started the show. I had 12 at the time. But the average is actually 47 unread messages, which is a lot. More than half are from friend and family. But it got me thinking, there are other things, maybe not necessarily texts or emails, that people almost certainly leave by the wayside and don't check, and that's their retirement statements. They come in the mail and people pile them up. They don't really look at them. How often should somebody actually check those? And also, if you guys want to expose yourself here, how many unread messages do you guys have right now?
Well, I got to tell you, we were talking before we came on the air, and throw a shout out to Travis for doing a great job helping us out with our videos and audio here. But he said, I don't buy that number. I don't buy that number at all. I'm going to tell you, for me, I don't have any unread text messages.
Well, you know what, Chris? Do you ever get into group chats where a couple buddies or whatever are talking amongst themselves and you just happen to be in the chain? But
Now,
doesn't
I have a
say
lot of
to
those
you?
I don't read.
Or family text. Yeah, for sure. As you were saying that, I was thinking like, yeah, I do have 12 messages.
This may
from-
get me in trouble, but there is a work group text that I have on. I have mute. I don't check it,
Exactly.
and I'll get the gist of it, from coworkers the next day or so. So that's probably where the bulk of them are coming
Yeah.
from.
I am not a fan of group text messaging at all. Because quite frankly, I don't want to know. I don't have time to listen to somebody else go on some rant about something that really doesn't pertain to me. I know that's pretty bold and a harsh statement, but it's just a fact. I'm just being straight with you. But I'm very, very particular about my message. When I get that little red dot, if it's an email, if it's a text, I can't stand seeing the red dot on my phone, so I've got to get it out of there.
Yeah. I
you
noticed
don't
a
want to talk
lot of
about
them
my emails.
from companies too, or so. They're starting to send a little bit more, being a little bit more creative with their marketing efforts, and text is definitely one of them. So I think texting, that's probably the case now, but as similar to the way emails have kind of gone by the wayside, where we know we're being spammed. I think people have a lot more emails read, thousands probably, than what they do.
You don't even want to know how many unread emails.
Tens to thousands probably.
It's bad, yeah.
Well, so you actually asked a question here, and I want to put in my 2 cents. Who knows what that's worth? But I can tell you this: I get my investment statements in the mail. If you went up right now to my office, Chaz, and I showed you this, I don't even open the envelope. I mean, I don't open the envelope. Now, I'm in a different situation. I'm still in my working years, and I've got time left to invest. I'm not going to do anything with it. I don't even look at it. And I'm sure that the good percentage of people out there that have investment accounts, they get their statements in the mail, and some of them don't even get them in the mail.
Yeah.
Some of them just get them online, or and I have a couple of accounts where I don't even get a statement, so I don't even look at it. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. What do you run into with that?
I think once or twice a year is probably a good measure to kind of plan on looking at your statements. I mean, certainly at the end of the year, most people kind of look forward to seeing what the bottom line is. I think that's what I would want to know, just if I weren't in the industry, is like, did I move forward or am I moving backward? And so at least once or twice a year, you get statements on a quarterly basis. So at the most, it's only 4 times. The other thought too is, you want to make sure that if you do have any questions or, fees or anything that just kind of looks out of the ordinary, stuff does happen. And so you do want to bring it to the attention of your advisor if something doesn't look good. I do have clients that are very fearful of their investment, almost not even in terms of what they think happened in the markets on that statement, but they're just so afraid of finances in general that it ends up being an uncomfortable situation for them to look at statements, and so they just don't look. And as long as you're invested and you're comfortable with the strategy that you have, that's probably as good of a strategy any too. I mean, not looking at the statements, not getting emotionally attached to money is probably as good as any. But I would say once or twice a year, at least take a look.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe I kind of exaggerated a little bit. It's not that I don't ever look at them. If I see the market is doing something crazy, I'm going to pull a statement out.
You want to double check, sure.
Yeah.
Trust but verify.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to say it. It's not that I never. Well, it is pretty close to never, really. To be honest, anyway, it's what it is. What it is.
Yeah.
I want to touch on, Chaz, what you said of the people who are like they're paralyzed with just
That's
the
a great
fear
word.
of what it could be, and it reminds me of ostriches. Sticking your head in the sand. Here's the thing I never got about that is that if a predator is coming and they stick their head in the sand, they're still coming, right? It's okay, where'd it go? Yeah. So it's better to go ahead and know, and if there is a problem, you can figure out a way to address it and to fix it rather than just let it grow. If there's a leak in the house, just because it's in the basement and you never go down to the basement, it's still a leak in the house. So you want to look at these statements. You want to be aware of them. If you have questions, give a call to America's Retirement Headquarters. Let Chaz, the team, with the retirement formula, help you with that and make sense of it. But at least, don't just pile them up on the coffee table like I do, proverbially with all my emails and texts. I really do need to get about that, I promise.
And that shouldn't be the case, too. That should be a warning sign, like going to any doctor. If you feel pain somewhere, you probably should bring it up. And so that would be a good thing to bring up to an advisor, because it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
You should be excited about, and the way that we approach financial planning and investments is, that's one of the things I'm most excited about, is we talk about what your goals are and that we have a purpose for the money. It's just not money for the sake of having money. It's directed towards accomplishing some goals that you are excited about achieving and like seeing the progress being made towards. So we focus more on that, not necessarily the number and the performance at the end of the day, but are you on track to meet your goals should be a more comfortable meeting to have on a 6-month basis than tearing up over a statement, it's up or down.
You certainly don't want that. And when you get to that point where you are comfortable with the goals that you're meeting, it can go a long way towards having that relaxing retirement that so many of us strive for. So pick up the phone, give a call, schedule a time to speak with America's Retirement Headquarters, 419-794-3030. Again, 419-794-3030. You can always find them online, americasretirementheadquarters.com. We appreciate you joining us today, as we do every week. We really do appreciate you taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend with us. And Scott and Chaz, appreciate you guys taking time to spend with us as well. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you guys with the final word.
Well, once again, I want to thank all the listeners and viewers out there. I do want to give a couple of real quick things. Next week's show is going to be pretty powerful. I'm going to have a guest come in. We're going to talk about the Ultimate Estate Planning Guide and how important it is to make sure that you've got that guide put in place. He, unfortunately, has lost his wife at a young age, and I'm going to share some things. I, unfortunately, lost my dad at Christmas. So we're going to actually go through and explain how settling some of these issues with, the investment statements and how important it is to have the proper people in place. Also, next month for us is Financial Wellness Month. So we're going to, February is actually Financial Wellness Month for us. So we're actually going to have a lot of shows directed towards health, wealth, and wisdom when it comes to finances. So thank you all very much. Chaz, thank you.
Yeah.
And hope everybody has a great rest of the week.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Filling in for Nolan today, who's in Florida, so feel bad for him. It's freezing here. You better bring me back something nice.
Yes. All right.
All right.
We're good.
That was good.
Good show.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Good job, bud.
Yeah, Scott, I didn't realize you were coming down, too. That's great. I was
Yeah.
wondering about that. I was like, is it just going to be Nolan and I working together?